All right, so let's start with the big story that we are tracking on WION Dispatch. The Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu is trying pretty hard to push back against a new wave of pressure to reach a ceasefire deal in the Gaza Strip after thousands of Israelis took to the streets and went on a strike. In his very first public address, after 6 bodies of Israeli hostages were recovered from a Rafah tunnel that was bombed by the Israelis, the beleaguered Israeli Prime Minister insisted that he will pursue his demand on the control of the Philadelphia corridor.
This corridor is different from other corridors, from other places. It is central. It determines our entire future. Its importance to us is great, but the world wants the war to end. The last thing it wants is for us to enter it, and immense pressure will be put on us.
Now, the Israeli Prime Minister's office has slammed the United Kingdom's decision to suspend 30 out of the 350 arms licenses to the State of Israel. Now, the office has said that the United Kingdom's decision will not change Israel's determination to defeat Hamas. Now, the United Kingdom's move has come after its review under the new Labour government, which found that British-made weapons are being used in violation of international humanitarian laws by the Israelis in the Gaza Strip.
Was whether there is a clear risk that anything we supply from this country could be linked to a serious violation of international humanitarian law. And the assessment was that in the case of around 30 components for military equipment, this was the case. And so just as governments have done in the past, from Margaret Thatcher to Gordon Brown, we've suspended the export licenses on those components.
The Monday marked the second day of the humanitarian pause that was agreed to facilitate the vaccination drive of the Palestinian children in the aftermath of the outbreak of the polio infection. The World Health Organization said that it is ahead of its target for polio vaccinations in the Gaza Strip.
Well, now, things are going well. Again, this is only the 3rd day. So this area-specific humanitarian pauses, until now, they work. We, of course, expect that this will continue and that all parties, etc., will contribute to this and to make sure that we can continue. We still have 10 days to go, at least.
And on the battleground, the Israeli army carried out an air bombing on a gathering of people who had assembled to purchase bread in front of a displaced shelter in the Jabalia refugee camp, resulting in horrific fatalities and injuries to the Palestinians. According to the Gaza authorities, at least 5 people were killed and many others sustained very grievous injuries because of the Israeli bombing. In the southern Gaza Strip in Khan Yunis, the Israeli forces bombed a cluster of refugee tents sheltering the displaced Palestinians who've been driven out of their homes, resulting in several injuries. Many people are reportedly missing following this Israeli bombing. Meanwhile, Israel's operation in the occupied West Bank has entered into its 7th day. With a raid launched on the city of Tulkarm, the Israeli military, along with bulldozers, have moved into the city's refugee camp and have laid a siege around the hospitals. An exchange of fire is also ongoing between the troops and the armed Palestinians. Since last week, at least about 30 Palestinians reportedly been killed in the region.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's great to be back at NATO for this. Putin
have targeted 2 crude oil tankers, the Saudi-flagged Jamad and the Panama-flagged Blue Lagoon vessel in the Red Sea, reportedly for carrying out trade with the State of Israel. Now, the attacks by the Houthis are the latest in the Iran-backed rebels campaign that has disrupted the $1 trillion goods that pass through the Red Sea each year, or the Israel-Gaza war in the Gaza Strip. Now, the Houthis have targeted more than 80 vessels with missiles and drones since November last year. The Houthi military spokesperson has claimed responsibility for the attack on the Blue Lagoon vessel, but did not make any mention of the Jamaat.
The ship was targeted owing to the violation of ban decision of access to the ports of occupied Palestine by the company that owns the ship. The operation was jointly carried out by the missile, UAV and the naval forces.
Now, WION's correspondent from Israel, Jody Cohen, has sent this report. Listen in.
Pressure is increasing on Prime Minister Netanyahu to agree to Hamas's demand that Israel leaves the Philadelphia corridor. The Hostage Families Forum has said that the struggle to return the hostages would be amplified. The UK has announced a partial halt on the sale of some arms to Israel. And when asked by reporters if Netanyahu is doing enough to secure a deal, President Biden suggested that he isn't. However, reporters didn't ask Biden if Hamas is doing enough to secure a deal. And the White House later said that Hamas's leaders must be held accountable. Meanwhile, Hamas has released a video of the 6 hostages before their execution by Hamas. And Hamas negotiator Khalil al-Hayya suggested that Hamas won't budge from its demands. Netanyahu said that concessions after Hamas's murders would encourage them to shoot more hostages, that the Philadelphia corridor is crucial for Israel's existence, and that the world should increase pressure on Hamas to agree to a deal. This is Jody Cohen for WION World is One.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.